Hey guys, Cass here. Hope you're all doing well. I have a video that I'm really excited to film today. A couple months ago, I did a spring TBR list where I picked 15 books, both from my shelves, from the library, and digitally that I wanted to read in March, April, and May. And that actually worked out so well for me, which we'll get into in a little bit, but it was really nice to just have a stack of books that I could go to and pick from and not get like overwhelmed by making a decision between all of the books that I own. So since that worked out so well for me, I'd like to do the same thing for summer. So we're going to talk about 10 books that I would like to read in June, July, and August. And I chose just 10 books from my bookshelves for this. I've been really enjoying just going to the library and picking up holds that I've requested, or just like walking around and picking up random books. I didn't want the list to get too out of control with like library and digital stuff, so I'll just kind of pick those things up as we go. I know that I'll be able to read more than 10 books in these 3 months, so yeah, I just wanted to like have a nice stack from my actual shelves. Before we talk about those 10 books though, I just wanted to go through real quick and kind of give you a checklist of my spring TBR, because I'm really proud of myself. I read 12 out of the 15 books so far, and I am currently making my way through one more, so I should be at 13 out of 15 by the end of May. I wasn't sure if I would be able to stick with it or if I would get distracted by other books that weren't on that list. So the fact that I was able to get through that many is really great. So we'll just go through the list real quick. If you want to hear me talk about any of these in depth, you can check out my March and April wrap-ups, and then keep an eye out for my May wrap-up in the next couple of weeks here. We had Art Monsters by Lauren Elkin, check. My Death by Lisa Tuttle, check. I wanted to read one Kate Briggs book, and I did read the long form, so check. Check Out 19 by Louise Bennett. I actually just picked up last night, and I'm like 50 pages in, so I'll definitely be able to finish that before the end of May, so we're gonna count that as a check. Traces of Enayat by Iman Mersal. This one I did not get to, honestly, just because it was on Scribd, and I haven't been reading on Scribd a ton, so I kind of just forgot that I said that I wanted to read it. So yeah, we didn't get to that one. But If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor, Naga, check. Arlington Park by Rachel Cusk, check. Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austin, check. The Passion According to GH. Ooh, I forgot about this one too. I got 60 pages into this and then I put it aside for now, so that is actually not a check. I have it checked off of the list here because I thought that I was going to finish it, so oops. The Man Who Saw Everything by Deborah Levy, check. Self-Portrait in Green by ndiaye, check. Day by Michael Cunningham was the other one that I haven't gotten to so far. We'll see if I pick it up before the month ends, but it just hasn't grabbed me yet, so that one was a no. Great Expectations by Vinson, Cunningham, check. Notes from the Henhouse by Elspeth Barker, check. And Any Person is the Only Self by Elisa Gabbert, check. So I think I need to recalculate here. Clarice threw me off. Okay, so I read 11. It'll be 12 once I finish Check Out 19 out of 15 books. I still think that that's wonderful. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into these 10 books for the summer. I am so excited about all of these. I've had to like hold myself back from picking up a bunch of them because I wanted to make this video and give you guys the rundown first. but I am so excited to dig into this stack, so let's get into it. I'm just gonna go through these alphabetically. I think in the spring video I had like some fun little categories, but I didn't do that this time, so we're just gonna go in ABC order. The first book that I have is The Material by Camille Bordas. This is releasing from Random House on June 11th. So yeah, I actually forgot to put this in my video about upcoming releases for the second half of the year, but I'm really excited about this one. The blurb for this says, "Can comedy be taught? Someone at some point seemed to think so. The Chicago stand-up MFA program has enrolled young comedians for nearly a decade. Its teachers and students all know how bits work, in theory at least. They know there's a line between sharp and cruel, that sad becomes funny at the right angle, that the worst is the best, the truth is the worst, and any moment of your life that isn't a punchline will either get you to a punchline or force you to be one. They're all afraid to be one. Artie may be too handsome for stand-up, Olivia too reluctant to examine her own life, and Phil too afraid to cause harm. Kruger may be too vanilla to command his students' respect, Ashby too detached. And then we have Dorothy, the only woman on the program's faculty, who though preparing to launch a comeback tour can't tell if she's too abiding, too ambitious, or too ambivalent. Whether a visiting professor, the high-profile, controversy-steeped comedian Manny Reinhardt, will do more to help or harm their cause remains to be seen. But he's on his way. He'll be arriving sooner than anyone thinks." Riffing keenly across a diverse array of precision-cut perspectives, The Material examines life through the eyes of a reluctantly assembled ensemble, a band of outsiders bound together by the need to laugh and the longing to make others laugh even harder. This sounds like it's gonna be a fun little romp. So yeah, there's also a blurb from my girl Rachel Cusk in here, and whenever I opened up this package and saw that, I was like, immediately, I'm in, you have me sold. She said, where is it? "What begins as a clever conceit becomes an interrogation of sadness itself. Almost suspended in time, the novel elucidates the irreconcilability of learning and living, of performance and being." So if Rachel was into it, hello, I'm into it, probably. And this was not a book that I would have been expecting to have a Cusk blurb. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. Thank you to Random House for sending this copy over. Next, we are going to shift from kind of fun and funny to one that I think is going to be really heartbreaking and touching, and that is Molly by Blake Butler. The blurb for this says, "Blake Butler and Molly Brodak instantly connected, fell in love, married, and built a life together. Both writers with deep roots in contemporary American literature, their union was an iconic joining of forces between two major and beloved talents. Nearly 3 years into their marriage, grappling with mental illness and a lifetime of trauma, Molly took her own life. In the days and weeks after Molly's death, Blake discovered shocking secrets she had held back from the world, fundamentally altering his view of their relationship and who she was. A masterpiece of autobiography, Molly is a riveting journey into the darkest and most unthinkable parts of the human heart, emerging with a hard-won, unsurpassedly beautiful understanding that expands the possibilities of language to comprehend and express true love. Unrelentingly clear, honest, and precise, Molly approaches the impossible directly, with a total empathy that has no parallel or precedent. A supremely important work that will be taught, loved, relied on, and passed around for years to come, Blake Butler affirms now beyond question his position at the very top rank of writers." I have seen so many people talk about how moving and like difficult to get through this one was. So definitely going to be one that I'll have to pick up kind of at the right time, but it just sounds so good and so emotional, and I feel like saying that I'm excited for it isn't really like the proper terminology, but I am really wanting to get to this one. Next up, speaking of Rachel Cusk, I would like to get to Medea, which is her like retelling of the Euripides play. The blurb for this says, "World premiere of a new version of Euripides' classic Medea, plays in London as part of the Almeida's Greek season. Medea's marriage is breaking up, and so is everything else. Testing the limits of revenge and liberty, Euripides' seminal play cuts to the heart of gender politics and asks what it means to be a woman and a wife. One of world drama's most infamous characters is brought to controversial new life by Almeida artistic director Rupert Gold and award-winning writer Rachel Cusk." I am not a big like Greek mythology kind of person. Never really got into that, but I've seen a lot of quotes posted from this, and just like flipping through it, I think this is going to be such an interesting form for Rachel Cusk to be doing. I'm not like a big play reader in general either, but I just think that the storyline of this, coupled with Rachel Cusk's writing, is going to be wonderful, and hoping that it's going to be like a new fave, something kind of different. And also this cover, those are berries. That is not her hand being blended, those are berries. Next, we have The Story of a New Name by Elena Ferrante. This is the second novel in the Neapolitan Quartet. I read the first one, My Brilliant Friend, last summer, and really enjoyed it. I'm a little bit worried to come back to the series because I feel like I'm not going to remember the characters and like what was going on. So we'll see how this goes. It's a big one, but I've really enjoyed Elena Ferrante's writing, and I'm excited to continue with the quartet. Okay, I was like, do I want to read the blurb because it's the second one in the series? I don't think that there's anything too spoilery in here, so I don't know. If you don't want to hear the blurb, if you're planning on reading this, skip ahead. It says, in the story of a new name, is it Lila or Lila? I've heard both ways. I don't know. I want to say Lila. That makes more sense to me. In the story of a new name, Lila has recently married and made her entree into the family business. Elena, meanwhile, continues her studies and her exploration of the world beyond the neighborhood that she so often finds stifling. Marriage appears to have imprisoned Lila, and the pressure to excel is at times too much for Elena. Yet the two young women share a complex and evolving bond that is central to their emotional lives and a source of strength in the face of life's challenges. In these Neapolitan novels, Elena Ferrante, one of the great novelists of her time, gives us a poignant and universal story about friendship and belonging, a meditation on love and jealousy, freedom and commitment, at once a masterfully plotted page-turner and an intense, generous-hearted family saga. Yeah, I am excited to just kind of like dig into this and lose myself in the world that Elena Ferrante has created with the Neapolitan novels. I feel like, yes, there are a lot of characters and a lot of things going on, but it's just so rich and detailed, and there's just so many different connections and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to get back into this world, and I feel like it is just going to be like a really good summertime read. Next, we have How Should a Person Be by Sheila Heti. I've been going back and forth ever since reading Alphabetical Diaries back in January on whether I want to read this one or Motherhood next. I feel like Motherhood would really fit in with a lot of the books that I've been reading recently, but I also feel like this one does too. So this might be like a Kate Briggs situation from the last video where I just want to read a Sheila Heti, whether it's this one or Motherhood. But we'll talk about this one. The blurb for this says, by turns loved and reviled upon its US publication, Sheila Heti's breakthrough novel is an unabashedly honest and hilarious tour through the unknowable pieces of one woman's heart and mind. Part literary novel, part self-help manual, and part vivid exploration of the artistic and sexual impulse, How Should a Person Be earned Heti comparisons to Henry Miller, Joan Didion, Mary McCarthy, and Flaubert, while shocking and exciting readers with its raw, urgent depiction of female friendship and of the shape of our lives now. Irreverent, brilliant, and completely original, Heti challenges, questions, frustrates, and entertains in equal measure. With urgency and candor, she asks, what is the most noble way to love? What kind of person should you be? I feel like this is just going to be like I don't know if you could call it a continuation since this came first, but like a continuation of the themes that she was exploring in Alphabetical Diaries, which I absolutely loved, but obviously like in a more linear format than Alphabetical Diaries was. And yeah, I'm just really excited to pick up more of her work. I feel like it's like a crime that I have not read anything else from her besides Alphabetical Diaries yet. Then we have All About Love by Bell Hooks. Me and Claire both picked this up from a new bookstore that opened up in Pittsburgh recently called Stay Gold Books. And yeah, we both decided to get this, and the owner was like, "Are you guys starting a book club?" And I was like, I feel like me and Claire already count as a book club, just like our entire friendship is a book club. So Claire, buddy read when for this? Let me know. The blurb for this says, a New York Times bestseller and enduring classic, All About Love is the acclaimed first volume in feminist icon Bell Hooks's Love Song to the Nation trilogy. All About Love reveals what causes a polarized society and how to heal the divisions that cause suffering. Here is the truth about love and inspiration to help us instill caring, compassion, and strength in our homes, schools, and workplaces. The word love is most often defined as a noun, yet we would all love better if we used it as a verb, writes Bell Hooks as she comes out fighting and on fire in All About Love. At her most provocative and intensely personal, renowned scholar, cultural critic, and feminist, Bell Hooks offers a proactive new ethic for a society bereft with lovelessness. Not the lack of romance, but the lack of care, compassion, and unity. People are divided, she declares, by society's failure to provide a model for learning to love. As Bell Hooks uses her incisive mind to explore the question, what is love? Her answers strike both at the mind and the heart. Raising the cultural paradigm that the ideal love is infused with sex and desire, she provides a new path to love that is sacred, redemptive, and healing for individuals and for a nation. The Utne reader declared Bell Hooks is one of the 100 visionaries who can change your life. All About Love is a powerful, timely affirmation of just how profoundly her revelations can change hearts and minds for the better. Yeah, I haven't read any Bell Hooks yet. I've only seen wonderful things about this book, so I think this is going to be a great nonfiction kind of philosophical read, and I'm looking forward to getting to it. Then we've got August Blue by Deborah Levy, my beloved. I am really looking forward to reading more of her work. I just read The Man Who Saw Everything at some point a couple months ago, and I have her new book, The Position of Spoons, on NetGalley that's coming out in October, but I wanted to read this before I dive into the new one. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I think that I've seen some like polarized opinions about this. I think that it might not be for everyone, but I think I can get down with Deborah Levy's kind of brand of weirdness after my experience with The Man Who Saw Everything. So I'm hoping that this one works for me. The description says, at the height of her career, the piano virtuoso Elsa M. Anderson, former child prodigy now in her 30s, walks off the stage in Vienna mid-performance. Now she is in Athens watching an uncannily familiar woman purchase a pair of mechanical dancing horses at a flea market. Elsa wants the horses too, but there are no more for sale. She drifts to the ferry port on the run from her talent and her history. So begins her journey across Europe, shadowed by the elusive woman who seems to be her double. A dazzling portrait of melancholy and metamorphosis, Deborah Levy's August Blue uncovers the ways in which we attempt to revise our oldest stories and make ourselves anew. Yeah, the double, like doppelganger kind of thing is something a little bit different, and I think that that might be the piece that was throwing other people off about this, but I just feel like I need to go into it with like an open mind and really pay attention to the weird little details that I'm assuming she's going to be throwing in here, because like I said, based on my experience with The Man Who Saw Everything, I think she's going to be able to pull it all together and make something really good out of it. So I'm really pumped to get to another book by one of my favorite authors. The next book that I want to get to is A Life of One's Own by Marion Milner. I'm not sure if there's a connection to the Joanna Biggs book, A Life of One's Own. I don't know if Joanna was inspired by the title of this, or if it was like more of a Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own vibe or what, but I'm really excited for this. I don't remember how I heard about it, but it seems like it's gonna be right up my alley, and it was just like re-released, I believe, in this edition, which girly is about to dive into a pool, so summer vibes, hi. The description of this says, this is what I really want. I want to discover ways to discriminate the important things in human life. I want to find ways of getting past this blind fumbling with existence. How often do we really ask ourselves, what will make me happy? What do I really want from life? In A Life of One's Own, Marion Milner, a renowned British psychoanalyst, artist, and autobiographer, what a lineup of roles to have, takes us on an extraordinary and compelling 7-year inward journey to discover what it is that makes her happy. On its first publication, W.H. Auden found the book as exciting as a detective story, and as Milner searches out clues, the reader quickly becomes involved in the chase. Using her own personal diaries, she analyzes moments of everyday life that can bring surprising joy, such as walking, listening to music, and drawing. She also records, in a disarmingly clear and insightful manner, the struggle between the urge to order and control one's thoughts and standing back to let them wander where they may. A pioneering account of lived experience that also anticipates the contemporary phenomenon of mindfulness, A Life of One's Own is a great adventure in thinking and living whose insights remain as fresh today as they were on the book's first publication in the 1930s. I love a diary or a journal, so I think that Milner's explanation of her own journals and just this really reflective nature of the book is really gonna work for me, and I think might just be kind of a helpful guide. Life can be weird and it's tough to figure out who you are and what you want to do, and I don't know, I just think that it's comforting that people have been kind of grappling with that question for all of time. So I'm curious to see how her insights, kind of can relate to the present day. Book number 9 is Committed on Meaning and Mad Women by Suzanne Scanlon. This just came out maybe last month. Yeah, April 16th. And I have not read any Suzanne Scanlon. I think she has 2 other books that are also now on my TBR, even though I haven't read this yet. She seems to be a very intriguing author and someone that I think I will vibe with. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this. I think Claire, calling you out again, buddy read on this when. Let me know when your library hold comes in, or if you have it already. The description for this says, a raw and masterful memoir about becoming a woman and going mad, and doing both at once. When Suzanne Scanlon was a student at Barnard in the 90s, grieving the loss of her mother, feeling untethered and swimming through inarticulable pain, she made a suicide attempt that landed her in the New York State Psychiatric Institute. After nearly 3 years and countless experimental treatments, Suzanne left the ward on shaky legs. In the decades it took her to recover from the experience, Suzanne came to understand her suffering as part of something larger, a long tradition of women whose complicated and compromised stories of self-actualization are reduced to crazy chick and mad woman narratives. It was a thrilling discovery, and she searched for more books, more woman writers, as the journey of her life converged with her journey throughout the literature that shaped her. Transporting, honest, and graceful, Committed is a story of discovery and recovery, reclaiming the idea of the mad woman as a template for insight and transcendence through the works of Charlotte Perkins Gilman, Virginia Woolf, Sylvia Plath, Janet Frame, Audre Lorde, Shulamith Firestone, and others. So this is kind of giving me A Life of One's Own by Joanna Biggs vibes as well, just with her connecting her life with these other female writers. So that is catnip to me. Any sort of mix of literary criticism and memoir is just so good. So I'm super looking forward to this. And if you have any recommendations for other books with that kind of vibe, let me know. And finally, I would like to read Exposure by Olivia Sudjic. How adorable is this tiny little edition of this? I am so obsessed with this little orange book. Olivia Sudjic wrote Sympathy, which was one of my favorite novels that I read last year, and I think that this book is kind of the non-fiction narrative of her experience with writing and publishing that book, if I'm not mistaken. I guess we will confirm for sure with the blurb here. It says, an essay on the anxiety epidemic, autofiction, and internet feminism. After the release of Sympathy, her debut novel, which explores surveillance and identity in the internet age, Olivia Sudjic found herself under the microscope. Trapped in an anxious spiral of self-doubt, she became alienated from herself and her work. Blaming her own mental health masked as a wider problem that still exists. No, that's not what that says. Blaming her own mental health masked a wider problem that still persists. The tendency for writing by women, whether fiction or personal testimony, to be invalidated on the grounds of sex. Drawing on Sujik's experience of anxiety, as well as the work of Elena Ferrante, Maggie Nelson, Jenny Offel, Rachel Cusk, and others. What a lineup. Like, say less. Exposure examines the damaging assumptions that attend female artists, indeed any women who risks exposure, as well as the strategies by which one might escape them. I feel like Olivia is so like underrated. I think her books are kind of difficult to get a hold of in the US. Like I've had to order this and my copy of Sympathy online, and she also has Asylum Road, which like I haven't been able to find in the States, so probably gonna have to get that online as well whenever I decide to read it. But yeah, I thought that Sympathy was like such a good like kind of internet novel, and I'm not really one to be into the internet novel as like a subgenre and like a topic, but that had me like hooked. I was just like turning page after page, like I needed to know what happened in that. And obviously I love an essay and a long form essay by Olivia Sujik with the writers that she mentioned. I think it's gonna be great, and yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for all of them, let's be real. That is gonna be it for me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, maybe added some books to your TBR. But as always, if you've read any of these, give me your thoughts. Let me know what I should pick up first, because like when I tell you I am about to like start reading all of these at the same time, like I'm so serious. So help me make some decisions here. Let me know what you guys are most interested in hearing me talk about. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.